No evil shall escape Deadpool's light. I mean, Green Lanterns. Hey guys, Ultra Maximus here, and I'm back with another 3D Blu-ray review, and my apologies, I haven't really got to sit down and do one of these in a while, so I wanted to sit down and kind of go over a relatively recent one. I'm kind of backed up on some movies. I've got Thor and Priest and Captain America and a few other ones that I haven't even got to open and watch yet, but I wanted to sit down and go over this particular one, Green Lantern 3D. Nice little vinyl cover. Obviously, a DC tentpole over the summer. The Green Lantern. It's he's not one of my favorite DC characters. I like him, but I don't like him as a solo character. I've always liked the Green Lantern as a supporting hero, such as in the Justice League, or the Green Lantern Corps as a group of them. I always liked that character better in that sort of mix, or paired up with Green Arrow. So as a solo character, he's not my first choice of a tentpole. I personally would rather have seen this character saved for a Justice League film and be one of the stronger characters in the Justice League film. But there was a call from DC to do a Green Lantern movie, and this is what we got. So what I'm going to do, the usual, we're going to go through the packaging, kind of talk about it. I want to talk about the movie, some of the 3D effects in it, all that kind of good stuff. So here it is. I got this movie at Best Buy for $34.99. Typical price for a Blu-ray 3D these days right now. This particular one has the Blu-ray 3D, a Blu-ray copy, a DVD copy, and the digital, the typical, I've got everything in it, packaging. Case itself, on the inside, exactly the same, just doesn't move around when you move it. And when we open it up, we get our digital copy code. Then we have our Green Lantern disc. I like how they put the Lantern logo on the discs. The odd thing is, and I'm seeing this more and more with Blu-ray 3Ds, they're just making them black and white. I don't know what the deal is with that, but I'm seeing that more and more with these discs. So, Green Lantern. You know, it's not a bad film. It's a pretty good film. It's not as good as the X-Men First Class. By far, in my opinion, that was the absolute best superhero movie of the summer. I think the second best superhero movie this summer was Captain America, which I'll talk about at some point here. But this was definitely a good one. I liked this one better than I did Thor. And there's some reasons why. Now, basically, this is an origin story. Summoner, which is this guy right here, little purple dude. He's the best of the Green Lanterns, Sinestro's buddy, and he's attacked by this entity named Parallax, which is this yellow monster that comes out of a prison cell, kind of a la Doomsday and Superman in this version. And he kills off the good guy here, and the power ring goes to Hal Jordan, which is played by Ryan Reynolds. He becomes a Green Lantern, he's sucked to Oa, and he starts to learn how to become a Green Lantern, and then they have to deal with this Parallax creature. Well, essentially, you find out that Parallax is one of the Guardians, the little blue guys that have created the Green Lantern rings. They harness the power of will, which is why they're green, and they decided that they were going to try to harness yellow. They decided it wasn't going to work, and this one particular Guardian thought he could do it, and it consumed him, and he became Parallax. And totally different than the comic books. And I personally didn't like how they changed Parallax in the comics to begin with. Parallax originally was Hal Jordan. He had snapped and the whole destruction of Coast City, and it was right after the reign of Superman, the death of Superman, and essentially they broke him in the whole Emerald Knight, and that whole story arc. He became twisted and became a megalomaniac essentially, and became the villain Parallax, and was that villain for a long time. And that's where Kyle Rayner came from, and that whole storyline, which I loved because they didn't kill him off. They made him the villain, and it really kind of mirrored Sinestro, because Sinestro, this guy right here, is one of the best Green Lanterns, and he succumbs to power, and he turns evil as well. So it was kind of a mirror of the fall of Sinestro with Hal Jordan, which I loved. So the movie version's very different. I was kind of upset they were using Parallax as the original, the first bad guy. We may or may not get a sequel out of this. DC says they want to do one. We'll see. So, things I like about this movie, things I did not like about this movie. Obviously, I did not care much for the Parallax. Loved Sinestro. Perfect casting. The actor did a brilliant job. He plays off fear from the beginning. He's got a great role in the film as an antagonist to Ryan Reynolds' character, and he figures he gets the information from the Guardians of who Parallax is and all that kind of good stuff. Well, at the end you get to see him. He's like, we've got to make a yellow ring, we've got to forge it, we have to fight fear with fear, etc., etc. And at the end of the movie, he actually gets the ring, and he puts it on, and he goes yellow. What I didn't like was, instead of the classic Sinestro, where it's basically this costume, but yellow with a yellow lantern and symbol, it's the new yellow lantern symbol, which is the weird logo thing, and the whole rainbow rings. I hated that story arc, and I didn't like any of that garbage. I did like the Sinestro Wars. That was pretty cool, but I don't like that logo. I like the old school, where it looks just like this, but yellow. But that's me. And they need to modernize, I understand that. Loved Ola, loved the Green Lantern Corps. Kilowog was fantastic. All of the lanterns were great. I loved that bit about it. I really kind of up in the air about Ryan Reynolds. I mean, he did an okay job. A lot of people didn't like him. They're like, this isn't Hal Jordan, this isn't this, and this isn't this. Well, I got news for you, folks. It is. It's the Silver Age Hal Jordan. The original, if you go back and read the original comics, Hal Jordan is brash, he's arrogant, he's cocky. He is that character, and he's just becoming a superhero, and that's what we get in this movie. A lot of people think of Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern as this wise and experienced superhero. He's not at the beginning. He's very brash. That's why he gets along with Green Arrow so well in the Silver Age. And a lot of people don't get that, I don't think. But we really have to kind of look at that, So I did like that aspect of the movie. It was true to its roots as far as character and character development. What I did not like was the suit. I liked how it's got energy, and energy was flowing through it. What I did not like were there like these little veiny lines in the suit. Didn't like that. It looked really dumb. And the mask. I didn't like the mask. Yes, it's comic accurate because it goes over his nose. However, it didn't work in real life. I think it would have looked better if they would have made it more like a Robin mask, where it went over the bridge of the nose, but not down the nose itself. I mean, he kind of looked like a bird with it. I didn't care for that. Other things I didn't really care for were the fact when he made things with the ring, they weren't just green. Like, he's got a flamethrower and red flames are coming out. He's got a gun and he's shooting it. There's white muzzle flash and bullets flying out. I didn't care for that. It should have all stayed green. But, again, would that have worked in a real-life setting? I don't know. Maybe not. So, those are just kind of some of the things I had issues with. relatively minor. When I watched the film on whole, I did enjoy it. I thought it was pretty decent. The 3D in it is really nice. They make use of the power rings and the flight and Oa. Everything like that looks very, very nice. There's a great scene where he kind of does that classic make a big fist and punch some guys. Also, other classic scenes like he makes the little brick wall kind of deal and all that kind of good stuff. So they do a pretty good job with that as far as utilizing the 3D. So, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably rate this about a 7, I would think, as far as superhero movies go. It's not one of DC's best, but it's also not one of the worst ones. What I did like about this particular DC movie is the fact that it's not trying to pull itself down to earth like in the Batman films. They really try to make it as realistic as possible, which is that kind of that niche for that movie, and that's fine. It works for that film. This is much more like the X-Men movies in the fact that it has no qualms about being a comic book movie. It is what it is, and it kind of goes with it. So that was very, very nice to see in it, and they really did a great job with that. I really did like that. So if you're a DC fan, you're definitely going to want to pick this up. If you're not a DC fan, if you're a hardcore Marvel fan and you like the X-Men movies and those kind of things, and the only DC movie that you could ever watch is Chris Nolan's Batman movies, this is not for you. You're not going to like this film. If you like fun, lighthearted comic book movies, this is definitely a good one. As far as like kids, this is a pretty decent one for kids. I don't know about very little kids, but it's a fun film. There's nothing too terribly bad in this. There's a little suggestive language in the beginning of the film, but then it levels out and it's pretty much on par throughout the rest of the film. So definitely something that I would have in my 3D collection. I would probably recommend it if you were looking for 3D movies. I would definitely say this would be a decent one to pick up. If you're not a big 3D, comic book geek, then you may want to wait until the price drops down on this, or if you see it used, like at a half-price Books or a used DVD store, those kind of things. Because I've noticed those starting to pop up in the used DVD stores, and they're about $10 to $15 cheaper than buying them brand new. So that's kind of nice on that front. So this particular edition has the theatrical and the extended versions on the 2D Blu-ray, but it does not have it on the 3D. The 3D is only the theatrical version. So that kind of stinks. I have not watched the extended version yet. I'll have to sit down and watch that. It's kind of upsetting that they didn't put it on the extended 3D, but I guess they're trying to cut costs and all that kind of stuff. Maybe we'll see that in the future. So hopefully we see a sequel to this, because I think Sinestro with the yellow ring and Ryan Reynolds' character becoming a little more adept at being a Green Lantern, I think that would make a fantastic film, and I think that would be essentially the Dark Knight of the Green Lantern stuff. You could do, the Blackest Night kind of thing, Green Lantern Blackest Night with Sinestro, or the Sinestro Wars or something, who knows. I think that would make a much more interesting Green Lantern film where we get to see Sinestro and Ryan Reynolds going at it. So as far as casting for Reynolds, I think he's miscast. I don't think he was Hal Jordan. He's okay. He pulls the brash and young and cocky off pretty decent, and he does a decent enough job, but I truly think he would have made a better Flash than a Green Lantern. So that's unfortunate, but he's real popular, and he's funny and quippy, and they decided to go with him. I think the casting of Sinestro, much better choice as far as casting goes. So I'm willing to keep Reynolds around as Green Lantern Give us a sequel. Let's see a darker film. Let's see a better film. I think this is a good one. I think it could be better. And hopefully if we get Sinestro in a sequel, I think it will get better. So that's pretty much that. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I apologize it took so long to get one out. I'll try to get to the other ones as quick as possible. And as far as this, I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs up and suggest that this would be something to add to your DVD collection for Blu-ray 3D. If you're not a big comic geek, if you're not a big action movie guy or gal, then you may want to wait till it's a little cheaper. Or we got Christmas coming up. I'm sure they're going to have lots of good sales on DVDs and things like that. It'd be a good choice for any kids that like the 3D stuff. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for videos in the future. And have a good holiday. Have a safe holiday. Thanks, guys.